Hello everyone. We are continuing with the chapter and we were on the topic the Marathas. We have seen the development of the Marathas. We have seen that they possess the right to levy the tax, that is Chauth and Sardeshmukhi. And now we are reading about the development of the Marathas. We know that the Maratha expansion brought about enormous resources. Okay, they expanded their frontiers, the boundaries expanded towards the Rajasthan, Punjab in the north, the Bengal and Orissa in the east, the Karnataka and Tamil Nadu in the south. But because of these development, the Marathas have to pay a tribute, a kind of price, because the other rulers were becoming hostile towards the Marathas. ठीक है ना, the indigenous rulers, they did not supported Marathas in the third battle of Panipat, which happened in 1761. Clear? This third battle of Panipat in 1761 was fought between the Marathas and the Ahmad Shah Abdali, and because of this battle only, the Maratha Empire, it disintegrated, and it disintegrated into several small kingdoms. Clear? So these several small kingdoms were having the Maratha chiefs, the Sardars. They were known as Sindhyas in the Gwalior region. They were known as Gaikwads in the Baroda region. They were known as Bhonsles in the Nagpur region. And they were all were having their powerful armies. So let us discuss about the developments that happened in the Maratha region. Now see, the revenue demands were gradually introduced. Now what were these revenue demands? That means in the local area, wherever the Marathas, they conquered the area, firstly they read the local demands of that area, and according to that local demands, the taxes were levied. If it is a fertile area, if it is a demanding area, if it is a prosperous trade area, the taxes would be raised, and if it is not a fertile area, then the taxes will be levied accordingly. Clear? Agriculture and trade was encouraged. This is another development in the Mughal period, Maratha period. ठीक है ना? And the most important is that new trade routes were discovered. See, there were new trade routes discovered. For example, the silk which is produced in the Chanderi region, it was now transported to the outlet in Pune region. So this was a new trade route. Likewise, various trade routes were developed, like in Burhanpur, which is earlier participated in trade with Agra and Surat. Now there were various hinterlands in Pune and Nagpur. That means various new trade routes were discovered. Clear? And of course the army was increasing. Maratha chiefs like Sindhyas, Gwaliors, Gaikwads, Baroda, the Gaikwads of Baroda, Bhosles of Nagpur, they all raised their powerful armies. So this is how the Maratha Empire was developing after the disintegration. Clear? Now the next topic is the Jats. The Jats were again the third important kingdom who struggled to gain their independence, and these kingdoms lies in the south of Delhi. Clear? Bharatpur region, the Agra, the south of the Delhi, these all regions were under the Jats. And who was the most important leader of the Jat? He was Churaman. Churaman was the first leader of the Jats who developed this area. Under his leadership, the Jats, they controlled over the territories which were situated in the west of Delhi. Clear? Then there is a hierarchy of rulers. That means it is a dynasty. Churaman, after that his son Badan Singh, after that Surajmal, after that various rulers were there who ruled over this kingdom. Clear? So firstly we'll read about the Churaman, that how under his leadership, how the territories they expanded. So territories expanded because of the conquest. The same policy was followed by his son Badan Singh, and the same policy was followed by the successor Surajmal. Under the Surajmal, they also started beginning dominate in the Delhi region, Delhi and Agra region. Clear? So this is how the hierarchy successfully conquered different areas around Bharatpur, Agra and Delhi. So now we will come to the developments. So Jats, as you all know, they were very prosperous. They belonged to agricultural community. They were agrarian people. That is why they were very prosperous people. Okay? And they developed the towns like the Panipat, Ballabgarh, and these were important centers of trade also. Clear? And under Surajmal, this Bharatpur region, it emerged as a strong state. But see, whenever a state flourished, it can be attacked by the foreign invaders. And in the same time period, that is in 1680s, around 1680s it developed, and when the Delhi and Agra region were developing, the Jats saw the attack of Nadir Shah. Clear? In 1739, Nadir Shah attacked Delhi. And it also, when it attacked Delhi, so the traders, the merchants who resided in Delhi, they fled away to the south of Delhi. And towards the south of Delhi is the Bharatpur region. Bharatpur region is associated with the Jats. So many refugees, many notable refugees, they went towards the Jat region. Clear? There also an important ruler who took back the area, who took over the area was Jawahar Shah, who was the son of Surajmal. At the time of Jawahar Shah, there was a strong army of his own with 30,000 troops. He was having his own troops there. Then he was having he was supported by 20,000 Maratha troops and 15,000 Sikh troops. This is how he saved his empire from the attacks of the Nadir Shah. Clear? Now you see, after this attack, that city flourished a lot, but the pace of the development, it slowed down because Nadir Shah took away a lot of wealth from this area. Now we'll discuss about some architectural features of the Jats. Now architectural features of Jats are important because they resemble the Mughal architecture. Clear? There are a few specimen examples: Bharatpur Fort, the Dig Fort. Bharatpur Fort is important because it is built in a traditional style. It is built in the mixture style of Rajputs and the Mughal architecture. Then you can see the Dig Fort. There were elaborate garden palaces. That means a style of garden palaces was established, and this garden palace style was copied from the Mughal architecture. Clear? And these buildings, they were having a modeled architectural form. That means they have some copies of the Mughal architecture, the royalty under the Shah Jahan. As you can see the picture also, I am showing you the picture. See this picture. In this picture, you can see the Bangla Dome. The Bangla Dome is in the top, and this Bangla Dome resembles the Mughal architecture. Which Mughal architecture? Have you been to Red Fort? Have you been to Red Fort? In the Red Fort, where the throne of Shah Jahan is made, the same dome is seen there. Clear? So this Bangla Dome is copied from the Mughal architecture. Clear? So this is how this architecture is important, because it is associated with the Mughal architecture. Clear? And we must know the foreign culture also, because the time period, the events which happen in this time period, same certain events or some of the other events happen in some other parts of the world. And in the same time period, French Revolution was going on. Where? French Revolution was going on in France, of course. In 1789 to 1794. Now, in the 18th century, India also, there were various people who were not having proper enjoyment of their rights. Because the government was not according to their wishes. In the Western world, this was the situation in the late 18th century. There were many areas which were under the foreign control, and that is why the people, they wanted social and political privileges. They wanted freedom from their aristocrats. Aristocrats means the kings. Those who used to forcefully make the people to follow the rules and regulations. So that is why the people were frustrated and they started the revolutions against their authorities. These revolutions were famous. Two resolutions, the American Revolution and the French Revolution. And during the time of French Revolution, mostly the middle classes, the peasants, the artisans, they used to fought against the aristocracy for their special rights. Clear? Because उन्हें ये लगता था कि the privileges were which were there, which were not given to them by birth, they must have it. At that time, the social position, that means the status in the society, depends on the merit. So the French Revolution was started because they wanted equal laws and opportunities. The people, the middle classes, peasants and artisans, they wanted equal opportunity, equality in the society. Clear? So they revolted against the government. They wanted to participate in the government, and that is why to transform the society, these revolutions they started. And because of these revolutions only, the idea of citizenship, the nation state means one nation. Nation state means state nahi, it means one nation. And the democratic rights, they all started, and we have adopted these perspectives from the French democratic regions. From the French democracy, we have copied these ideas in our constitution. That is the idea of citizenship, nation state and democratic rights. Clear? So in this chapter also you have seen that people were frustrated because of the Mughal rules, because of the harsh atrocities of the Mughal rules, and they started their independent rule. Clear? So this is the condition in foreign culture also. The people were frustrated with the aristocracy, that means the dominant rulers, and that is why they started the revolution. Clear? And at the end they got freedom, they got the idea of citizenship, they got the idea of nation state and democratic rights. I hope this chapter is clear to you. Okay. Thank you, class.